I recently just finished rewatching Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, so I thought what better time to make a tier list ranking the characters in terms of battle power while my memory is still fresh. In the useless tier, we have a Wet Roy Mustang. Whether it be due to being splashed by some water or it being a rainy day, this pyromaniac becomes completely useless while wet. The soldier tier, as its name implies, is a tier full of characters who are on par with trained soldiers with a gun, and it just so happens that most of the characters in this tier are soldiers as well. Crawling around at the bottom of the tier is the lizard chimera Beto. Despite being a chimera, all he ever did was get beat up and killed. The next group of characters are soldiers who don't have too many combat showings and haven't done anything to lead me to believe they're much better than your average soldier. I put Major Miles at the top though, considering he's from Briggs and they're built tougher there. Martel is a skilled and flexible chimera who is able to restrict Al's movements. She didn't really get into any fights, but her chimera power should give her the edge over most soldiers. Dulcetto is another chimera who is skilled enough to take a group of soldiers down with a sword. Lieutenant Riza Hawkeye is a skilled marksman and is probably the best shot in the series. If it came to a range battle, she's most likely above the two soldiers I put above her. Havoc may not be as good of a sniper, but when it comes down to close to mid-range battles, he seems superior. Despite his lack of showings, I put Hughes at the top of the tier due to the fact he was able to escape an assassination attempt from Lust, while simultaneously putting a throwing knife in her head. If he can do that to Lust, I suspect he can do that to anybody else in this tier. The next tier is the Superhuman tier, which consists of people who reached new heights due to either alchemy or technology. Even though I'm partial to him, I put Barry the Chopper at the bottom of the tier, because at the end of the day, he's just a maniac wielding a butcher's knife. He has the advantage of an immortal body made of metal, but anyone on this tier and above wouldn't have much trouble tearing him apart. Father Cornello with a Philosopher's Stone was able to make powerful weapons and turn into a giant who should be able to crush anybody below him. Panina was agile enough to avoid Ed's alchemy and could kick right through metal due to her auto-mail leg, which can also double as a cannon. Captain Buccaneer is also enhanced by powerful auto-mail that can be used as a weapon, but he's bigger, stronger, and is a trained soldier of Briggs who's ready to put his life on the line and kill if he has to. The next group of characters are the heavyweight chimeras. While working together, Jerso and Zampano were able to get the edge on Scar, and Darius and Heinkel were able to get the edge on Ed. But the former had knowledge on Scar's combat style, and the latter had the advantage of their smell in a low visibility area. Those four aren't really in any specific order, but I put Roa at the top of the chimeras due to the fact he was able to go toe-to-toe with Alex in a fair fight, though he was definitely on the losing end of that battle. At the top of the tier I put the Slicer brothers. Like Roa, they were able to take on a powerful alchemist in the form of Edward Elric in one-on-one combat, and they actually would have won if Ed didn't use the power of destruction he learned from Scar. He's extremely skilled with his sword and was smart enough to not let his opponent use alchemy. His immortal body that never tires and doesn't feel pain also gives him an edge over the other characters in this tier. Despite this next tier being called the low tier, it's actually closer to the middle of the list. You can think more of this in the next few tiers in reference to state alchemists, so this tier would be the low state alchemist tier. If you noticed, there wasn't a single alchemist below this tier. Father Cornello was able to use alchemy, but only while using the power of a Philosopher's Stone. Without it, he was powerless, and even while using it, he was severely outmatched by an actual state alchemist. That being said, these tiers aren't exclusive to alchemists. The first two alchemists in the low tier were ones killed by Scar and don't have much screen time, but they should still have the firepower to be able to take down the characters in the lower tiers. The Ironblood alchemist can create powerful artillery and can trap his opponents in metal walls. And the Silver Alchemist can create weapons like shurikens, and a sword which he can spin around with on his peg leg like a top, becoming a whirling death machine. I put the Silver Alchemist higher because he was actually able to land a hit on Scar in their fight. Sig Curtis is one of the physically strongest characters on the list, being able to launch Sloth with a lariat and help Alex beat him down until he finally died for good. General Olivier Armstrong is the very definition of a strong woman, and is easily one of the mentally toughest characters on this list. Due to the fact she beat up her brother Alex and uses a sword as well as any other weapon she could get her hands on, I put her above Sig, who relies only on his bare hands. Isaac McDougall has the power to boil and freeze water, which he can do directly to a human's body to kill his opponents or make weapons out of his own blood. He was powerful enough to hold off Major Armstrong for a bit, get the better of Colonel Mustang by getting him wet and turning him useless, and fought Ed and Al at the same time, though he did end up losing to them even though he had the help from a Philosopher's Stone. Sig and Olivier may be able to beat him if they get in close enough, but I think his raw power and versatility gives him the edge. Fu and Lanfan are basically ninjas, and not only are they armed to the teeth, they have the ability to sense ki, which gives them a huge advantage in combat. Lanfan was able to give Ed a run for his money, and completely eviscerated Gluttony while in the dark. I put Fu above her as he was able to do better against Bradley than she did. And due to his age, he should be much more experienced. Though after getting her new automail arm, Lanfan may have closed the gap or even surpassed her grandfather. Their master Ling is a step above both of them, being able to hold off Bradley even while taking care of an injured Lanfan. The Crimson Alchemist Kimberly is without a doubt the most powerful person on this tier, especially with the use of a Philosopher's Stone. A lot of people will probably think he deserves to be even higher, but Kimberly has the big downfall of being terrible in close quarters combat. Scar ended up almost killing him after only a few seconds of combat. Ed could have killed him in just a few seconds as well if he really wanted to. And lo and behold, he ended up getting fatally wounded by a character much weaker than himself due to this same reason. So he's on this tier due to the fact pretty much any character in the tiers above would probably kill him if they were bloodlusted, while some people even on his own tier have a good chance of killing him if they get in close enough. Even though she's just a little girl, Mei somehow managed to make it into the mid-tier. Just like the other characters from Xing, she can sense ki and is an expert fighter. However, she also has the ability to use alchemy, which is a huge advantage over them. It even has some advantages over regular alchemy, such as creating long-distance circles that can also be used as traps and surprise attacks. She's also able to become stronger depending on how strong her opponent is, which allowed her to even hold off the power of Father after he absorbed God. Alex Louis Armstrong, also known as the Strong Arm Alchemist, was powerful enough to hold his own against Sloth, but he did end up needing some help to finally defeat him. People may want to bring up how he lost to his sister in a fight, but Alex most likely wasn't going all out in that fight due to his soft nature, and he didn't use any alchemy either. I think it's pretty clear he was the stronger of the siblings when he needed to save his sister's life from Sloth by using his own body as a shield, and he was clearly the one doing most of the work in that fight. The Fullmetal Alchemist Edward Elric is an extremely skilled alchemist for his age who no longer needs transmutation circles due to seeing the truth. At the beginning of the series, he may have been in the tier below, but even then he was skilled enough to take on adult state alchemists and even managed to counter Greed's ultimate shield. After getting his winter automail, he became even faster than Scar, and like I mentioned earlier, he could have killed Kimberly if he really wanted to, which Kimberly admitted to himself. Alphonse may have been the younger brother, but in my opinion, he is the stronger of the two. He was always better in hand-to-hand combat, and after he gained the ability to use alchemy without transmutation circles, Ed lost his only real advantage. Before seeing the truth, Al would be in the tier below, and while using the Philosopher's Stone, he would be in the tier above considering he was able to put up a fight against Pride and Kimberly at the same time. Lust is the first homunculus on the list, and like most of the other homunculi, she is basically immortal. She also has a dangerous finger game due to her ultimate spear ability. With this ability, she was able to casually slice apart poor Barry, and messed up Alphonse as well. Sloth may be lazy, but he's the fastest homunculus and is extremely strong and durable as well. But he isn't the smartest homunculus in the Flask, and his lazy nature is a hindrance to his fighting ability as well. Gluttony in his base form is easily the weakest homunculus, but with his false gate of truth, he is extremely deadly. It can swallow up anything it touches, and anyone who fights him would need to be extremely careful, as one slip up could mean their doom. Greed comes in at the top of the mid-tier due to his ultimate shield and ability to keep up a bit with Bradley. While in Ling's body he arguably got even stronger, and if he lets Ling take over, they can combine his ultimate shield with Ling's skill and key sensing ability. He does have one weakness though, and that's the fact alchemy can turn his ultimate shield brittle. Gluttony's Gate of Truth can also swallow him if he isn't careful. Who is that at the bottom of the high tier? Izumi Curtis is an expert alchemist who has seen the truth and doesn't need to use transmutation circles. She was able to casually judo throw Sloth into the air and knock Greed into next week. Scar, with just the power of destruction, was able to kill multiple state alchemists, almost killed Kimberly, and defeated Ed and Al at the same time. While also using the power of creation, he was able to hold his own against an injured King Bradley, and actually won, but only due to a little help from the sun. Envy's a lot stronger than I think people give him credit for. In his true form, he was strong enough to beat Ed and Ling at the same time, and it took the combined efforts of Scar, 2 Chimera, Mei, who laid out traps beforehand, and Dr. Marco, the one guy on the entire planet who knows how to destroy a Philosopher's Stone, to beat him. Colonel Mustang with his signature fire alchemy has some of the highest destructive power in the entire series. With it, he was able to kill Lust and defeat Envy. It should be of no surprise to anybody that the Führer King Bradley sits at the top of this tier. Do they really expect me to make a complete mockery of myself by not even coming into the top of my own tier? He's one of the fastest, if not the fastest character in the entire series, being able to casually deflect machine gun fire, and that was while not even using his ultimate eye, which allows him to see and predict things to an even greater extent. He is a one-man army who ran through a large group of soldiers and even destroyed a tank. Basically anyone who fought him got schooled, and it took the combined efforts of multiple people to finally put an end to the Führer. I actually think the top 3 characters on this tier are kind of like rock, paper, scissors. Mustang can beat Envy due to his high firepower and Envy's large size and slow speed. Bradley can defeat Mustang due to his speed and skill and Mustang's lack of close combat ability. And I honestly think Envy has a good chance of beating Bradley, as all Bradley uses are swords, and while he can damage Envy with them, you'll have to get in close to do it. And just one slip up could be fatal due to how big and strong Envy is. And Bradley being the only homunculi without regeneration is a big handicap. But due to his ultimate eye, speed, and skill, I can actually see him beating Envy if he's really careful. And because of that, I do think he deserves to be at the top of this tier. Onto the top tier we have Hohenheim. He's basically a living Philosopher's Stone, and because of this, he has immense power. He was able to fight Father for a bit, but in the end, he couldn't win. Pride is the first and strongest of the homunculi made by Father. Hohenheim had to run from him in their first encounter, and in their second, he admitted he didn't think he could win in a direct fight. Pride's weakness is he's powerless in complete darkness, and if Hohenheim takes advantage of this, he could seal him up like how he actually did in the show, though he did need Al's help to do that. Father was able to defeat Hohenheim in battle and was undoubtedly the strongest alchemist and character in the series. But wait, isn't there another tier? Well, yes, and that's also Father. After absorbing what he called God, Father reached an entirely new level of power. Unfortunately, we never got to see the true extent of it, as right after he gained this new power, he lost all the souls of a Mistress he just absorbed and was significantly weakened and couldn't properly control his new power. Even while weakened, he was still leagues above everyone else and could just casually kill people by taking their souls and could block just about any attack that came his way while just standing in place. The most impressive thing he probably did was shoot out a massive energy blast that looked like it came straight out of Dragon Ball Z. A lot of you may be wondering where the truth is on this list. In his own words, the truth is everything, including each individual character. So from a certain point of view, he is on the list, because he's literally everyone on the list. The entire list is the truth. And if the list is true, that means the tier list must therefore be correct. This is the truth. Now, after enjoying my tier list, which is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, in equivalent exchange, you should leave a like on my video and subscribe to my channel to see more videos about the truth.